What is going on, internet and current forum goers? Welcome to another ARFCOM review. Today, we will be going over the Vortex Viper HD, and this is their 5x25 by 50. It's an MRAD reticle on this guy. It's an MRAD, so hold your breaths. But we'll be going over this. We did take it out and compare it to a couple of, I guess, similar offerings. We have the now defunct Brownell's MPO, and then there's also an Arken 5x25 that we use to kind of compare as a baseline when we shot them out of a 2002 Toyota Tundra in the middle of the woods. So you're welcome. These things got from anywhere as close to 100 out to 500 yards so that we could see reticles and brightness. Earlier on, we're going to have like a nice 50,000 foot view, and as you get further into this review, it will get more details oriented as far as numbers for all you nerds. But until then, you'll have to get a quick word from our sponsors, and we'll get back to the review.
Today's video is brought to you by the Mark 15 Hydra, the most versatile black rifle platform the industry has ever seen. The most you will ever need to convert calibers is a barrel, bolt, and magwell. Changing is quick and easy, and the combinations are practically limitless. With one serialized lower, you can have any configuration you can imagine. And by TNVC.com, with the new Mars laser rangefinder from Envision in stock and ready to ship. It is a compact LRF packed with features including a 2,000 meter range, built-in ballistic computer, and Bluetooth. It features a red aiming laser as well as an IR ranging laser, which cannot be detected by most night vision devices.
Welcome back. We do have, like we said, all of the specs for this 5x25. This is, first of all, and the biggest question for any rifle scope is going to be, is it first or second focal plane? Fortunately for us, this is indeed a first focal plane.
For those of you who don't know, first focal plane, your reticle is going to grow with your scope as you are magnifying.
It's a grower.
The second focal plane is going to stay the same throughout its range of magnification.
It's a shower.
Yeah, the benefit for that is that your holdovers and all of that are consistent regardless of what focal depth you're utilizing.
Yeah.
Yep. Second focal plane, all your holdovers are going to be accurate at maximum magnification, and you will have to zero at maximum magnification to have all of that function properly.
Oftentimes, the complaint when you're looking at something like an LPVO versus this is going to be weight, and it's oftentimes why they tend to go for second focal plane. This is a big old scope to begin with. Most 5x25s are, and so they tend to be less concerned. I would complain if it wasn't first focal plane. Normally, I don't care as much, but here specifically, I would want to see it, just given the
precision nature of it. Yeah.
Well, and also the amount of adjustability you have. You're like, dude, like there are times where I'm using just 5. And there's going to be a lot of times that I want to be at 16 power or whatever. And somewhere in between there, I would like for my zero to not get weird.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about either precision shooting, where you're talking about wanting first round hits, or hunting, where like that's kind of the whole point, is to have a first round hit.
Well, I mean, the difference in an LPVO, right? You're either going to basically be shooting it at 1x trying to do something fast, or you're going to shoot it at full magnification, at least personal preference.
This is all somewhere in the middle because of the nature of what you're asking out of the scope. This is an illuminated reticle. This one specifically, we can go thank Paul, who's off camera, for the choice. This is their VMR4 reticle, which is like the big Christmas tree version of it. This is in MRADs. This does come in MOA. There's 3 different reticles. It's got the dead hold BDC, which is, I mean, almost purely a hunting one.
Yeah, I would say that VMR3 and the dead hold, we'll put some images up on screen. So the dead hold is about as simple as you can get. It's pretty close to all your old school Leopold Gold Ring sights as far as hunting goes. VMR3 is a little more complicated. It does have the additional stadia lines, so obviously you're going to be able to get more information from it, but that reticle does not have the holdover distances marked on it. It's basically just a bunch of lines.
Yeah.
Again, more traditional. And yeah, you get into the VMR4, like Josh said, it is a busy Christmas tree with a lot of information that once you understand what's happening in the reticle, it's super beneficial.
Yeah. And there's pros and cons to each. Like having something like a dead hold or VMR3, like it's a much more bold crosshair. So sometimes it can be a little bit easier to see on certain backgrounds as compared to a Christmas tree style reticle. I think illumination helps that a lot. There are some scopes that will only illuminate like the center dot, or maybe the stadia is right around the center dot.
Which both the dead hold BDC and the VMR3 only do the center dot.
Yeah, and so that's the cool thing about the VMR4 illumination, is that it's not necessarily just your reticle or your center dot. It's the stadia lines left and right, and all the way down your windage or your elevation, which is pretty cool, especially if you're taking shots at night or in low light situations. That way you can actually see your reticle and you're not putting essentially a black etched reticle into a shadow.
Just to kind of go over some of the other features, and we'll get a little deeper into it since we're on magnification or illumination. This does have a button push, which is a little different.
It's different.
A lot of people tend to have like a rotary dial.
Most every scope that a longer range has a rotary dial.
The button push, it's intuitive in the sense that it's not complicated. You just keep pushing it, and eventually you'll get to the thing you want. But it's not as quick. I think when you have like a rotary dial, you just kind of kick it to where you want it to go.
Especially with off in between each one of the numbers. Yeah, you're at 5, and then you can bump up your daylight.
And maybe we're just idiot Neanderthals, but like you click it, you'll eventually get to the highest brightness. It'll double blink when it's at its highest, and then you'll keep clicking, and when it gets to its lowest, it'll double blink at you.
The illumination will automatically shut off in 6 hours after the last adjustment.
It does have 10 brightness settings. Right next to the button push, you will have your parallax adjustment. It was a very satisfying thing to see that I didn't have the distraction of what I wasn't looking at.
Yeah.
I could really focus in on
decent depth of field.
Yeah, this is really good glass clarity for what this thing ends up costing. But really, it was for being a 30 millimeter tube.
Yeah.
No, that was the thing I was actually interested about this is the other two 5-25s that we compared this to are actually 34 millimeter tubes. And so the thinking is that with a 34 millimeter scope, you're going to have a little bit better eye box.
Yeah.
And then also you're going to have more light transmission because you just have more tube for the light to travel through. At 500 yards, even like shooting into the shadows, we weren't really having a hard time seeing our targets.
No.
The one thing I thought about it as well is weight.
So this is 25 ounces.
Yeah.
The Arken was 39.2.
That's a
chonk. And the MPO was 36.5 ounces. So that's, 11 ounces off the top?
And so especially on this specific gun, here we have the Springfield, the Waypoint, and it's already a pretty light gun. So putting that on there, it's kind of just...
It is a great hunting package. Like you put a titanium can on that thing, and you're pretty much saying hi to anything in North America.
It's a contrast.
Dude. This is the heaviest gun we have at the studio, with probably the heaviest scope we have at the studio. It's cool if you're shooting in prone or you're shooting on a bench, right? But for a realistic use case, like they're talking about this being a hunting scope, well,
So you do have a top turret that has their zero rev stop technology. Bobby did a really cool infield demo. We will likely insert it here.
To set your zero stop, basically you're going to remove this top cap. Once you get this cap off, your turret just comes off. And then in the box, you will find this little disc. This disc basically has a channel here on the bottom of it that this pin rides in. So you're just going to place this right side up on your scope, push down. So go ahead and set your turret down to your 0, and then replace your cap. And now you have a zero stop.
But it's actually it's a very tactile. These clicks were really, really nice.
Of all of the scopes that we had out there, I liked these turrets the most.
I was about to say that same thing. So it does not have a ton of pressure to pull it up.
Yep.
It's got nice, easy adjustments.
Once you zero the gun, which I did, and then Bobby roasted me because I forgot to put the rev stop in there. But it gives you 5 mils, in this case, it'd be MRADs down, and then or MOA down, and then you'll get the rest of it up. I don't know how many come ups you get.
I believe it's 20 MOA of full adjustment on there,
which is 18.9 MRADs for those of you that care. But the once the rev stop is in, it is nice because you do have an actual hard zero stop, which is pretty nice. Or you can only.
And
go
it's also
over
a
at 5.
lot easier to set your zero stop than a lot of other scopes. Sometimes you have like a bunch of pins and stuff you have to drop in. This is literally you take the cap off, you drop this little collar on, put the cap back on, you're done. If you have a penny in your pocket, you could reset your zero stop if you needed to. So kudos to them.
The windage adjustment is capped, which makes sense for a scope like this. You can take it off. Then you have to hold on to your cap. It's just skinnier and smaller. It's not really designed to do that, especially when you have the MV4 reticle. You have wind holds on either side of the tree. So like,
you're going to dial for elevation, hold for wind.
I could maybe see it more on the VMR3 or like the dead hold. This also does not come with mounting rings. I don't remember for the life of me, whoever it is, these are incredible because we have them on 2 of these rifles. This performs relatively well compared to what my expectations were getting it out of the box. And even spotting for you guys, like it was pretty impressive to see how quickly you guys were making adjustments. Still seeing like I'm getting 30 power magnifications, and you guys are like, yep, right there. Like you were seeing things at the same time that I was. And then I'm glad that they do offer, ours is an MRAD, but they do offer MOA options. Generally, your eye relief is going to be about 3.4 inches. And then at max magnification, that's when you really start to fill the 30 millimeter tube versus the 34.
Yes, that's the difference. Is max, it was not.
It felt much more like 2 inches,
Yeah.
if not like 1.5 inches as far as eye relief or the eye box. The tube size, obviously, like we said, is 30 millimeter. Your maximum turret travel rotation is going to be 10 MRAD. Basically, per full rotation, you're getting 10 MRAD.
Yep.
On max elevation adjustment, total will be 20 MRAD. I think for MOA, you're going to end up getting for those two measurements with the rev stop 18.9 MRAD, and then your windage adjustment is going to be 12.4 MRAD. Overall length is 15.2 inches on the gun. That is without the shroud that does come included. But 25 ounces is the total weight, which we've already gone over. It is a 50 millimeter objective lens, which is obviously the light gathering thing, but your tube does affect how much actually can get transmitted back to your eye. It is a CR2032 battery that is used for the illuminator. Overall, as far as actually getting behind the glass, well, I think we all had a pretty positive outlook on it.
The adjustment as far as rotating the magnification ring on there, it is great. So this is nice and smooth, just like we talked about with the turret caps being smooth.
And didn't require braking.
It doesn't. One of my big complaints on Vortex, and we've talked about this on every single optic we've done in the past couple of years, why they stopped doing the fixed on the ring and they went to that throw lever. But that throw lever is hot garbage. It is basically good to throw away. So Vortex, just put a little bit of nub on top so when the ring hits it, there is surface area.
I don't really have a dog in the fight. I don't run any guns that require this kind of magnification because I take compromised bullets like 5.56 and stuff as opposed to real rifle calibers. Anyways, that's generally our review for the Vortex Viper HD. If you guys have any other questions, ask us in the comment section. We do have a lot of literature. If you guys are seeing this, it should be live. Vortex should also have plenty of details, but really and truly the one source for both complaints, but also at times very good information is going to be the forums. Go check it out at AR15.com.
Keep making those forum posts about the punched up smiley face merch. Keep doing it. Be the squeaky wheel. We need you.
Squeaky wheel. Where else can they find us, Bobby?
Check us out on social at AR15com. We can be found on Twitter and Instagram. And we also have a Discord. The link can be found down in the bio below.
Doobly-doo.
And remember, PID is important, so get enough scope on your gun.